How is everybody?
Last session, we made it. I feel like we run a marathon in our heads, right? It's been like jumping to content. Thank you guys for being with us and just keeping it positive. We've been having fun. So,
Okay.
We start. Perfect.
All right. So I'm going to read my moderator's introduction. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Applications of NearPod with Montserrat Montse Oyanadel and myself, Cash Clifton. I will also be moderating today. I guess Montse and I will be moderating together in a sense. Before we begin, please make sure to note the chat box on your right. You can use that to communicate with the two of us. If you would like permission to share your audio and or video, click the blue button on the top of your screen. Full disclosure, I have not been successful in getting that to work yet today, so you are probably stuck with the chat feature here in Hopin. My apologies for that. And we are going to get started. So if you haven't already, please open a new tab and join us on NearPod. So join.nearpod.com, code LOTUX, and I will type that in the chat here as well. And be sure you keep Hopin open. So Hopin is going to be how you can hear me. Let's see, I'm going to turn my webcam off. Okay, so if you do need any help joining us in NearPod, please be sure to say something in the Hopin chat. So this is creating engaging lessons with NearPod, part 2 with myself and Montse. I believe most of you were here in part 1 with us, and there are our pictures. So here's what we're going to do briefly today. We want to know what do you want to learn. I'm going to talk quickly about the 4CA framework. I believe most of you are already familiar with that at least a little. And then we're going to design a lesson together and try it. So this is where you get to actually see how to build a lesson in NearPod. So I would like for you to take a little poll in NearPod now. So we're going to start this. You have 2 minutes. And I want to know, what do you want to build in NearPod? And you can make as many selections as you would like. So what do you want to build in NearPod? Again, please type in the Hopin chat if you need help getting into our NearPod. My timer isn't working. Oh, there it goes. There's just a delay.
So Cash, also, can you show how you can hide students' names again? Because I think people, a lot of participants don't know that, but in a way, if you're doing NearPod live like we are doing, best practices, if we are asking questions that are kind of like, what do you think? How do you feel? Did you understand? Just hide I recommend to hide the name. Don't you think that's a good practice?
Absolutely. So if you're in Hopin, you can see my screen as the teacher. You notice there is this little button here. So yeah, this particular question doesn't go very deep. So I have your name showing. Yeah, if it was, how are you doing, or something deeper, see there, I can hide the student's name and make it anonymous. And it looks like we've all submitted something. So I'm going to go ahead and share the results there in NearPod so we can get an idea of what we want to build. So it looks like there's some interest in fill in the blank and matching pairs. Okay. Fantastic. So we're going to be building a lesson today using the 4Cs framework. I think you're all a little familiar with it at least. I think you're actually all pretty familiar. So it's just this 4-step process where you do, okay, so you want a connection. So you do some kind of connection to prior learning. Essentially, you're tapping into an existing neural network rather than trying to build a new one. That's just so that students are more likely to commit it to long-term memory. Then you do some kind of concept activities. This is where you actually teach something new. Concrete practice, have the learner do something with it. And then finally conclusions, have the learner reflect on their learning have the learner repeat what they learned, something like that, something to reinforce it. So hopefully we're leaning to long-term retention. We don't just want the student to do a quick data dump and forget the material. So here's a sample 4Cs lesson. So this is from the actual Sharon Bowman content. So I think some of you were at the big train we did at Catholic Charities a couple of years ago. So if you were there, this should look familiar. So connection C1, concept C2, concrete practice C3, conclusion C4. There's been a lot of interest in how to do this with math. I don't know how well you can see this. Let me see if I can make it bigger over in Hopin. So you might be able to see it a little bit bigger over in Hopin, but please don't close NearPod there. And notice how this is very linear. So it goes from top to bottom versus the map that I showed you before was more of a window pane. So there's lots of different ways that you can do your 4Cs lesson plans. I originally learned Madeline Hunter lesson plans as an undergraduate. And this reminds me very much of a simplified version of that, if you're familiar with Madeline Hunter at all. So there's another example of 4Cs lesson. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to now close out of NearPod. So that is all we're going to do with NearPod for now. So please close out of NearPod and return to Hopin with me. I want you to be able to see our screens. And so if you do have any issues with returning to Hopin, please let us know. And I am going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn it over to Monte so she can show you how to add the NearPod add-on to Google Slides.
Thank you, Cash, for that. That's perfect. So the first question is referring about how do I build those lessons on NearPod? So one of the things, as you can see here, is there are two ways to develop lessons on NearPod. As we mentioned in the last presentation, I'm going to repeat that. You can use it directly from NearPod. And also you can use the NearPod add-on in Google Slides, which is recommended because it's easier to customize and also it's easy to use. A lot of us are already familiar with Google Slides, and also it has better designs. It's so much faster and easier. The templates are better. And also the designs and the tools that Google Slides offer. Like as you see, Cash and I, we're going back and forth between Google Slides and NearPod. The goal of this session is for you to get a feeling of how to do that and just start using it using Google Slides. So I'm going to show you how to install the Google Slides add-on. So I'm going to share, as you can see, this is Google Slides. So you're going to go to the tab that says add-ons, right? You're going to click here. Mine is right there, as you can see. I have all these add-ons for Google Slides. So what are add-ons? Are really little tools that will help you make your Google Slides better. So little tools that improve the use of Google Slides. So you're going to click here, and then going to get down, scroll down, and you're going to click on Get Add-ons. Click here, and this new window will open. These are all add-ons that you will find, right? In this case, this is NearPod. I already have it, but it says they're installed, right? But then if you don't have it, it means that NearPod works great with Google Drive and Google Slides. So you will click here, and you will get it on your list of add-ons. Here you can find so many. So if you at some point are really looking forward to try new ones, go ahead. This is a great way to improve the capabilities of your Google Slides. But here in this case, you're gonna click here and then install NearPod. I'm not gonna do that because I already have it, but click here and you will get it, and it will look just like this. Something that is very important is as soon as you do that, you have to refresh your screen every time. And you see, it took me to the other side, but if you don't do that, it will look that it's not there. So a lot of people are like, oh, didn't work. You have to refresh your screen. So now that is there, you're gonna open NearPod right here. And this is how you get access to it, to Google Slides. So easily you can start adding some tools to NearPod. But something that's very important to mention, and I know we're gonna do that next when we start building the lesson, is that you have to do all the changes first here. Because if you save and go to NearPod, you cannot change it. So again, the changes happen in on Google Slides. So everything you want to change, you have to do it here. Once it's done and you go to NearPod, you cannot change it. Okay. So here you have all the tools, and then you just add it there. But we're gonna go next to the next part, and you're gonna see how this works step by step. So Kash,
Great.
you're gonna take over now.
Thank you so much, Monse. So if you can, okay, let's see, and I will start sharing my screen again. Okay, so I am here in a blank Google Slides presentation, and what I've done is I've outlined a very basic 4Cs lesson that we're going to build with NearPod here. It's not going to be anything super in depth, nothing like that. So C1, so here's where we want to make a connection. I'm going to do an open-ended question, and I want to know, tell me about a time you did well in math. Why do you think you did well? I'd like to know what kind of student you were. Please write at least 5 sentences using correct grammar and punctuation. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that to my clipboard. I'm here in my presentation. I'm going to give this a title. I'm going to call this Demonstration for Teacher Institute. What is today? 9/17/2020. I come here to my slide, and remember, I wanted to make this an open-ended question. So I'm going to go up here to my add-ons, and I'm going to hover over NearPod and then click on Open NearPod. And then as Monse just showed you, this little box is going to pop up over here. And I want to warn you, you have to be patient with NearPod. It can be kind of slow sometimes. I'm on a really good device and a really good internet connection, and I can get kind of frustrated with how long it takes. So just be aware of that. So I am looking for open-ended question. So I'm going to hit open-ended question. I click on it. And then here it pops up for me to build the open-ended question. And now I'm going to paste my question in. So there's my question. Now see, I can add a timer. In my actual lesson plan, I was going to give 5 minutes for this, but I want to give you guys a little bit of time at the end to actually go through what we build. So I'm just going to make this a quick minute. Notice I could upload media if I wanted. So there was a question about a video earlier. So you could upload a video file, an audio file, or an image here if you want. And this is interesting. It's in beta. I haven't really played around with this yet, but you can enable for students to do audio recording. So I have my question built in here, and I hit save, and then it has to think about it for a second. And then see, now there is my open-ended question. And again, you have to give it a minute to refresh and things, but now that open-ended question is in there. There's my C1. So now C2, I want to build my discussion board. What are at least 2 habits of mind that are good? And I put good in quotation marks there. I would address why that's in quotation marks with my students. What are 2 habits of mind of a good math student? And so I'm going to do that as a discussion board. So I'm still in my slide presentation, and I want to look for discussion board. Excuse me, it's a collaborate board. My mistake on the language. Okay, and so here I'm going to say the topic. So we'll call this Habits of Mind, Good Math Student. And then I'm going to paste the prompt in there. And then notice I can change formats. The chalkboard's kind of cool. I personally like the corkboard. I don't know. I guess they're all kind of cool. We'll use the chalkboard that they have, and then I save it. And then now the collaborate board is there after the open-ended question. So there's my C1 on slide 2. There's my C2 on slide 3. And notice I can't really see much of what's going on with the collaborate board. So keep in mind, again, you have to be patient because there's a little bit of a lag. And there, it just went ahead and fixed it. Okay, so now C3 matching habits of mind that support success in math and habits of mind that do not. So I want to find matching on here. So matching pairs. And it pops up here. Okay. So I'm going to say determine which habit of mind would support success in college math, and determine which would not. Okay, so there's my prompt. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add a pair. Oh, so a habit of mind that supports success. Consistently practicing math at least 4 days a week. I would say that supports math success. Okay, and then I'm going to add another pair. So I want this to be something that does not support math success, crammy, staying up all night, the night before a test, to cram everything. I've definitely been guilty of that a time or two as a student. And so there, see, that's my second pair. And so I could add another pair if I wanted. Then I'm done. And so see, these are the things they're going to need to match. And then I'm going to go ahead and save it. Okay, so there's my C1, there's my C2, there's my C3. And so finally, I need my C4. So this is just another open-ended question. Not going to get too fancy here. 40 minutes is not a lot of time.
It's not. And yeah, you're doing great, Cash.
Let's see. And so I'm just going to leave the timer off of this. But there again, keep in mind I could insert audio or video or pictures if I wanted to, and I'm going to save it. And boom, that's how quickly you can build a lesson in NearPod once you get a little bit familiar with it. I'm just going to go ahead and have a title slide, and we're going to call this Demonstration for Teachers Institute. I can never spell when people are watching me type in a presentation. Hey, I think I spelled things right that time. Okay, so if there are any questions about everything we just did there, please type in the chat. I see Michael soaking it in. I'm so glad you're here and soaking it in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this live. So now that you've seen this built from the teacher's side, let you see what it would be like as a student. Oh, by the way, like let's say this collaborate board, if I changed my mind and I wanted to edit something, I could just go edit this slide. And then it pops up. And so that's how I could change this board if I wanted to. And I'm not going to save it. I'm not really going to. So I'm going to go ahead and make this live. So to make this live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save and go to NearPod.
Cash, can you mention something to interrupt something again, just to, because I made that mistake before. I don't want you guys make it. If you do any changes, you have to do it on Google Slides. When you already, can you repeat that part? Because I think a lot of us been in that situation that you find a mistake already in NearPod, and then you have to do all the changes in Google Slide. And that is a little confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can only edit this in Google Slides. So see here, now I have this presentation that matches my Google Slide in NearPod. But if you do want to go back and edit things, if you find mistakes, go in, edit the mistake here in Google Slides. So if I want to do that, see, I would go Add-ons, NearPod, Open NearPod. And then I would want to edit this lesson and then save it again to go live. So yeah, that's something I learned the hard way. So thank you for pointing that out, Monte. So this is our actual live presentation that we just built. So we can do live participation. So that's what we're going to use. That's where we all do it together. Or you could do student pace. That gives you the asynchronous and the synchronous option there. So I'm going to go with live participation. Okay, and so now I'm going to ask for everybody, please go through on the student side and let's experience what we just built. So you're going to go open a new tab again, join.nearpod.com, and you're going to enter this code here, VQTHO. And as you saw, that's automatically generated. So VQTHO, and then it should ask for your name. So you can join the lesson. I'm going to join as a student too. If you're having any issues joining, please let us know in the chat and Monse can help you out. VQTHO, and it looks like Monse did copy and paste that into the chat. And hop in if anybody needs that. So you should have in one tab where you can view NearPod as the student, and then you should also have in your hop-in tab where you can see it on the teacher's side from my perspective. So just be aware, you can change tabs and do both views. So we're going to start our very first activity. You're probably not going to have time to answer this very thoroughly. Keep in mind my real lesson plan, I would have given 5 minutes. I only gave a minute here. So I am going to start the activity. Try to type something in and submit it if you can. And we're going to go ahead and hide everybody's names because this one's a little personal. So let's see, we have 12 seconds remaining. So here, 2 people have shared. And then time is up. So it looks like most of us had time to share a little bit of something. So again, if you want to look at the NearPod, the hop-in tab, you can see on my instructors and what I see as the teacher. And you'll notice that the students' names are starred out. And keep in mind, that's that little feature down at the bottom right-hand corner where you can hide people's names because this, again, as once I said, is kind of personal. And so it's best practice to keep that kind of stuff private. So that's our first one. So there was our C1. Then now here is a C2. And if you're still in a hop-in, notice something it's going to do every time is it's going to ask you, would you like to approve student comments before they're posted? That way, if they post something obscene or offensive, I don't know, I've had students do really wild things over the years. Then if you say yes, then you approve it. If you say no, the students could just post directly. I'm going to say yes, just so that I can demonstrate it for you all. So in your one tab, if you could write for me habits of mind of a good math student. Okay, and people are submitting. So if you're on the hop-in screen with me, you can see that little number jumping up. And so I need to review comments, and I'm gonna approve them. And so you can see, if you'd like to, again, on the Hopin side, you can see how I approve these comments. And then on the student side, you can see what students see. Ooh, growth mindset. I love growth mindset. So there is the C2 that we just built. So if you're not in NearPod already, please jump into NearPod. And now you're going to try matching pairs. So determine which habit of mind would support success in college math and determine which would not. You probably want to have more than 2 pairs because it makes it kind of easy. And again, if you'd like to see the teacher's perspective on this, you can see that in Hopin. Looks like we're waiting on one more person. So we'll give them just a little bit longer. They might be having technical difficulties as well. Okay, so
Kash, can I mention something?
please.
How that Daniel mentioned that before, but something that is cool from the student view, if you check, you have on the corner the notes part, right? Like you can take notes and you can send them to Google Drive or to your email. So that also is very cool when you are studying. So also some skills that you want to teach students is to take notes. So I love that thing. I don't know if you guys can see it on your screen, but that's a great tool to use with your students.
Yeah, that is a really great tool. Thank you for mentioning that earlier, Daniel. Mike said, interesting how it didn't let me finish until I got the right answer. Yeah, I think the matching pairs makes you do it over again by default until you get the right answer. And then Kristen, yeah, you can do more than 2 choices in the matching game. And you probably would want to do more than 2 choices because it seems like it just does like a diagonal crisscross thing, which I imagine students would figure that out. But I don't know. That might be a good way to teach them pattern recognition too. But yeah, you can do as many choices as you want, I think. And then keep the questions coming. Let us know if you want to know anything else. And then finally, we have what did you learn today and what do you want to do next? And so I'll ask everybody to fill that out in NearPod. And I'm going to show names on this one. Daniel's excited. Very good. I'm glad. I'm excited with you. Daniel, you taught me about the note thing in Google Drive. I didn't know about that, so thank you for that. And I want to know what the virtual reality thing is. That sounds very intriguing. I haven't gotten to play with that yet. Monse said more practice. Yeah, practice makes perfect when it comes to technology, right? Kristen, a few more hours in the day, so I have time to play with it. It looks fun. Yeah, Kristen, if you ever figure out how to get more hours in the day, I hope to be your first phone call. Mike, I got a perfunctory introduction to NearPod. I would like to learn how to work with this in classroom. Monse, have you worked with this in classroom at all?
In Google Classrooms? Yes. Mm-hmm. And maybe I can show how to just connect it to Google Classroom, because you can actually share the link of the presentation to Google Classroom, so it makes it easier for the students to join the presentation.
Fantastic. Mike, that maybe Monse and I could do a tech talk.
Yes. So, Kash, something about those lines before we finish is that we are planning to do more of these, just workshop style. So we don't have the pressure, and everybody communicates and collaborates. So let us know what you want to learn, and we can make it happen. Right, Cash?
Yeah, I think so.
And Claudia also has used it in Google Classroom. Sorry, Cash, I took over. I just got excited that Claudia put that on the chat.
Yeah, Claudia's always ahead of the curve. You're amazing. And yet Claudia says she needs more practice. Nancy, it sounds like you're excited about NearPod and that you can do it from Google Slides. Yeah, so I found the actual NearPod website to be kind of frustrating. I don't know, maybe I just didn't spend enough time with it, but I'm definitely an advocate of working from within the add-on in Google Slides. It's just been super, super easy. And Carlota, I learned how to use NearPod to create lessons, and I learned how to use it as a student. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you all took a little something away from this. So we do have a few
something very short. Wait. Something very short is you can see there, guys. If you go look Cash screen, you can see there is 80% of participation. So that's very good when you are teaching because you already know that not everybody participated. And when you have like a 20 students, you can see this, and it's great because that's what it means about accountability. And you should pay attention. I don't know if we're going to have time to go over the reports because actually, if I don't know, Cash, what time we have to finish today?
We still have 10 more minutes, Monse.
Perfect. So do you want to show how to get the reports, or I can help you if you don't remember, but that thing it will be cool to see the reports on NearPod. So
yeah, so that would be right here under reports, correct?
Yes, correct. Excellent. So this is going to help you to what we were talking during this presentation about making students accountable for their work and also how to get feedback out of them. This is a great way. So Cash already click on the report. So if you finish NearPod and you come back to the library, you will see, Cash got it under email. Perfect. On his email. Great.
So you can also access that under the library in NearPod. Is that right, Monse?
Yes, you can. You're going to have a report every time that you have a presentation.
Fantastic. So you can see on my screen, student participation, 100%, 9 students. You can see who was here. That is absolutely fantastic. Wouldn't you love to see 100%? Presentation in your real classes. Here you can see reports of what students were saying, and then you get this nice little graphic of students who didn't answer versus students who actually typed in some text. Here I can see for the matching pairs that everybody completed it, so they got a nice check mark, which is really awesome. And then under the open-ended question, I can also see that we had 100% participation. So that's like a dream class, having 100% participation.
It is completely.
Monse, was there anything else you wanted to show or say about reports?
I think that's it. I think I use the reports a lot, and I will help you to know how your students are doing, especially when you're teaching math. Those kind of hard topics and subjects always are good to create some questions for assessments and things. So I think we got it, Cash. We don't have more time to go in depth how to show Google Classroom, but let's do a TED Talk or a workshop.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. And then just to let you know, this is another way you can access reports. So this is from the NearPod navigation menu. So you do get the reports in your Gmail, but then a lot of you guys know I use NearPod pretty frequently. So here you can see the backlog if I need to go back on any of these things. Nancy says she would love to have a workshop. Yes, let's get one going. Let's say that would be a good project.
Yeah. So it's more like we all could learn in collaboration, and we don't need to, we don't have this time limit in a way. So, but this was great, Cash. I think if you have any questions, now's time, guys, to ask, and we can refer to them. We can stay a little longer if you need to. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. A couple of housekeeping things for the conference here. So if you're not on Workplace already, please join at my.workplace.com. You can sign in with your NMDELT account. This is social media for adult education instructors in New Mexico, and it's really awesome. I think I'm preaching to the choir, as they say, though, because I believe everybody I see on here is already in Workplace. If you haven't already, please fill out the professional development survey that was sent out by Tina a couple of times last week. We would love to hear from you, and I just hope you'll have a voice in what professional development is in New Mexico. Motivational coaching for adult educators. We're doing a second class beginning next week, which is really awesome. Most of you were in the first class, so I am super, super excited that Peggy and Tina and I get to do that again. And the last thing is we would like to hear some feedback about what we can do better. So in the chat here, I just posted that Google Docs. You don't have to type that whole big long mess of a thing. But if you would, please take a couple of minutes to give us a little bit of feedback. And then it looks like we'll be going back to the stage here in minutes at 4:25 for the, the tech slam.
Yes, well, thank you, Cash.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Monse.
Oh, no, I was saying thank you for the presentation and thank you to all the participants. Mike, you're awesome too. I miss you guys. And thank you for joining us today. It was super fun.
I can't wait to see you guys in person and like hang out at the hotel and stuff. I look forward to it.
Good times. Good times. Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, Cash, last thing. If you guys want to share your lessons, that's the point. We can all create some cool lessons for adult education and share and collaborate. So we have some good ideas. So yeah, anything, we would love to hear from you to how to make this happen. Right? Yeah,
in a dream world, I think it would be cool if we could get some shared NearPod lessons into a database. That's a pretty big dream, but I think it's kind of something neat to work towards. And Claudia, I will definitely tell Matt you said hi.
I say hi too. Can you tell him?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So, well, let's go to the stage now, right? What time is that, Cash?
4:25.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you again, you guys.
Nice to see you. Everybody. See you on the stage.